Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Alex here with Freedom Mowers. I've got a push mower here today that has been sitting for a couple years, and I think with a carburetor swap we'll have this machine up and running again and ready for this mowing season. So let's jump right to it. Alright, well what we've got today is a little bit older model Toro Recycler 22-inch. This is the rear drive, and it has the I believe the 6.5 horsepower Tecumseh on this, and these were very popular self-propelled mowers, and it is certainly worth the repair. This one also has the personal pace, so the variable basically speed for the self-propelled. And what's going on with this machine is it has been sitting for a couple years, and I put some fresh fuel in it. It will not start. But I did spray a little bit of fuel down into the carburetor and pulled it a couple times, and it started up for a couple seconds. So I know that we're going to have a fuel issue. I've went ahead and gotten a carburetor. This carburetor came from HIPA360.com, and we're going to be putting that on there today. That came with the carburetor and the gasket, and we're going to be using some pretty simple tools to get started and hopefully get this machine up and running good again. So let me get you guys set up and we'll get right into getting this carburetor swapped. Alright, so to start things off, to gain access and to remove the carburetor on this machine, the easiest thing to do is to take the top cover off, which is 4, I believe, 1/4 inch bolts on that. And then once we get that off, we will be removing the muffler on here, which is just these 2 bolts, which I believe are 7/16. And then we can gain access to the 2 other bolts that'll allow us to take the manifold and to take the linkages off, and then we'll have the whole unit removed once we remove that fuel line as well. So a lot of people kind of give these a bad rap on the Tecumsehs because of the design, but it's really not that difficult, and they are good engines. So we'll go ahead and get started on removing all this stuff. Got to take the oil cap off here to get the cover. Slide that right back on. Alright, we got that top cover off. I'm going to go ahead and remove the air filter, get that out of the way. And we have the 2 muffler bolts here. We'll get those knocked out. Muffler just come right out the way. Then now we have the 2 3/8 bolts that hold the whole manifold on here. You can disconnect this breather hose. This is just a breather hose for the crankcase on here. So we'll take these out. And then we have the whole manifold loose at this point. Can disconnect this linkage. I'm just going to take it off where the spring mounts here. Just remember that this spring just goes back on this little tab here, and on the linkage here you should be able to just slide that out, and then we'll just leave the linkage on here for now. We'll take this off because we'll take the carburetor into the shop, and I'll show you guys how to take the carburetor off the intake manifold. So at this point all we're left with is just the fuel line here on the back, and somebody has already taken this clamp loose, so we've got that off. You can either get a container or something to put the fuel in. I think I'm just going to tuck the hose away for now, and that is pretty much it on getting this apart and off the machine. So we'll go ahead and take this up on the bench. I'll show you guys taking this apart. We got a couple pieces we need to put on the new carburetor, and then we'll just go in reverse order and get this back on here and hopefully get it cranked up. All right, well, we got this over to the bench, and you guys can see, so we still have our linkage that's attached here to the throttle. So on this particular one, it just you got to get it underneath at that angle. You just got to get the right angle, and this goes in the very top left hole. So I'm going to go ahead and just come over to the new carburetor. I'm going to go right in. We'll go ahead and attach that, set this off to the side. Now this intake cover plastic piece here, this is going to have to be swapped over. I believe these are 1/4 inch. Yeah, these are 1/4 inch. So just get these two, and I won't bore you guys watching me do the whole thing here, but I'm going to take these two, and then you're just going to swap that over. And then on the intake tube here, I believe you're going to have a 7/16 on this side, and then you have a 3/8 on the other side. And basically what you're going to have to do is just get a wrench on either side and go ahead and take both of these loose here. Got to get a wrench for the other side, but I'm going to go ahead and get these loosened up, get the intake swapped over, and get the manifold, the plastic here, switched over as well, and I'll show you guys everything in place. But that's pretty cut and dry. So I've almost got this all back together, and I wanted to make sure that you guys could see there's actually an O-ring here on the inside of this plastic manifold. You just want to make sure that's in there to create a good seal, and then you can go ahead and put your 1/4 inch bolts back in. But I've got the other side snugged up. You want to make sure either your old gasket looks good, or you can put the new gasket that came with this one in between the intake manifold and the carburetor, and that's pretty much about it. So I'm gonna get these two bolts in, and then we'll get this remounted back on the machine. All right, well, I got everything back out here. I did want to show you guys, make sure to that when you reinstall this, that the longer side is down. I just made the mistake of having it the other way around, and went to look at it and realized that it was wrong, and that the intake will not, or the filter housing will not fit on there correctly. So at this point, you're just gonna hang your linkage back in, and then you can hook your spring back up to the tab. I will go ahead and get the breather hose back on, the fuel line on, put the two bolts back in here, reinstall the muffler, and we'll get the cover on. So I will go ahead and get all that done. I'll show you guys everything kind of buttoned up here, and then I'll get the top cover put back on, and we'll see if this is going to start right up for us. All right, so everything is basically buttoned up here. This does need a new air filter, and it's a little soggy on the bottom. Unfortunately, this design of air filter on these machines was I don't think the best, because it's kind of exposed to the elements, and they do get wet, so they get bad quite a bit quicker if they're out in the elements at all. But I will get a new filter for this. Got the breather hose connected up, the fuel line with the clamp on. We've got the linkages back on here, and everything looks good. You just got to hook up that spring on the tab, and we should be all set. Everything is snugged up. Two bolts here, the muffler. The only thing left now is just to pull that dipstick back out, get the cover back on, and I'll bring this over and we'll see if we can get this cranked up. All right, before we start this up, I did want to tell you all that earlier I sprayed some penetrating spray down behind the muffler to get those exhaust bolts loose on there, so it might be a little smoky on startup. But go ahead and give this thing a few primes, see if we can get this to fire up. All right, well, that started up a little easier than I thought it was going to. I'm surprised even with that dirty air filter on there, it was running quite as well. I hope you guys like this kind of content, and hopefully this will save you some time and some money. If you guys do like this kind of content, I will continue keep making this stuff, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So if you do like it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. A lot of times people don't want to spend the time, or they just don't have the time to go in and try to clean a carburetor. So the next best thing is to just replace it and save yourself some time and money from taking it to the repair shop. So I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said, and hopefully this helps somebody out with their repair, and I hope you guys have a great one. So on that note, let freedom ring and let the small engine sing. I'll see you guys next video.